Good to go.
Larry, just what's this day mean to you and you guys to get this kind of honor and get everybody back together to celebrate what y'all accomplished?
It's always great, man, to be a part of a special group of people, not only players, but coaches, managers, and everybody that was part of it, to be honored here for something that we were able to do 20 years ago. And just kind of cementing our name in the history books, if you say, of this historic and traditional rich basketball program. And, to have people still talk to you this day about Darius Washington missing free throws or the comeback at West Virginia, like those are, iconic moments that, people remember forever. So to be celebrated, to be honored for the team that I was a part of, man, it's a real privilege.
Does it feel like it's been 20 years? Are you feeling old today?
It does not, man. It does not. Time flies, man. Speaking for me personally, when, I left here, I went and played professionally for 15 years. And, the seasons kind of go by, man. You look forward to the next season. And, before you know it, you look up 10 seasons to pass, 15 seasons to pass. And before you know it, now it's 20 years, man. And so, it flies. A lot of the guys are still the same, man. The fan base is still the same. But to answer your question, no, it just seems like yesterday, man. It makes me think back to when I came to college in 2001. It's like, man, it was 20 years since the 80 team, when they won the national championship. I'm like, so this is what they must have felt like, man. So I'm sure time was flying by for them too. But, man, it just seems like yesterday some of the memories are very vivid, man. And so it's a good day to kind of go back down memory lane and be nostalgic for a minute.
We were talking to PK during the presser, and he brought up just how gritty and tough that team was. And just, kind of looking back, what really was it that made that team so special to make it that far?
I would say the camaraderie more than anything. We had a team of guys that everybody knew what they specialized in. You had Ellis Miles, who was the toughness of the team. You had Francisco, who was kind of like the all-around guy. Taekwon, who is, best three-point shooter in school history. You had me, I was just kind of filling in wherever needed, scoring, and just trying to, play a defense, rebound, or whatever needed to be done. And, just everybody knew what everybody was doing, and we just had a great camaraderie and understanding of what everybody knew and what we needed to do in order to win. Like Scottie Pippen says, the hardest thing in basketball is knowing your role. And when you have everybody in the team that buys in and knows what they're supposed to do, it makes for an effective team. That's what we were.
Have you been able to talk to the team? Have you guys been able to kind of get together? And if you guys have, what has your message been for the team right now?
We have a group chat, so we talk all the time, but this is the first time we've all been able to see each other in person, even though we're missing a few guys here today. But, we all still keep in touch a pretty good amount. We haven't got a chance to see each other in a while because everybody's kind of spread out now. But a lot of guys still live here. A lot of guys come here and they love it. They play here. They raise their families here. From the love and support that the people show here, they wouldn't want to be anyplace else. So, but maybe our message is just kind of going down memory lane of, a lot of jokes and stories about the bus rides, the plane rides, locker room talk. We talk about the games a little bit, but it's a lot of things away from the basketball court that we talk and joke about.
Did you have any idea before the season that you could be a Final Four team? Did you have that aspiration, or was it just kind of?
You always talk about a national championship. That's the ultimate goal of every team, right? But when we talk about, realistic, we were kind of like in that Elite Eight, Sweet 16 range. We're like, okay, anything less than that would be a disappointment for us. And so when we got there, I think we had a little bit of an edge because we were expecting to really be a 2 seed. We knew it was a long shot for us to be a 1, but we were kind of expecting a 2 seed. So when we kind of saw Washington go up there, just kind of threw a little bit of wood on the fire, man, to kind of get us going a little bit. So then to be able to, buy into that matchup, to be able to play them in a 1-4, I don't think they really knew the motivation in us from them feeling like they took our seed. And so from the beginning, man, we always set it out just, wanted to win a championship, and that was the ultimate goal. And, but to be honest with you, we saw the Elite Eight. It's probably like, a good measuring stick for us. And so going to the Final Four was icing on the cake.
Coach Kelsey has said his team reminds him of the 2005 team. Does this current group of Cardinals, the way they play and the way they conduct themselves and so forth, any similarities that you see?
They do. They play a lot through the high post. Ellis Miles was our best passer. and I think James Scott is the best passer on this current team. So it's a very similar role. A lot of movement without the ball. They have Terrence Edwards, they have Rain Smith, they have Chucky Hepburn, 3 guys that can knock it down at a high clip. And, we have myself, Francisco, and Taekwon Dean, also 3 guys that can knock it down at a high clip. Chucky Hepburn probably relates more to what Francisco did to our team. He was kind of like the point guard and the catalyst. Well, on our team, Francisco was a catalyst. Taekwon and I were more so just the shooters, scorers, and defenders, and he was more so the playmaker. So it's a lot of similarities to what they do and how we do and how we play.
What about the togetherness? And you mentioned the camaraderie of the 2005 team, which Coach Kelsley mentions with his team too.
That as well. We were an older veteran team just like they are, and just had guys that knew how to buy in and to plan for something bigger than yourself. I think that's the hardest thing in college athletics when you have a lot of young guys. When they hit adversity, things kind of tend to go back to playing hero ball like you did in high school, whereas when you have an older group, you hit adversity a little bit, guys know okay, we need to dig in, we need to rotate the ball, we need to run the play, execute, get to the end. And so the mindset is just different, so the execution is different when you have, an older group, and they understand that it's something bigger than yourself and playing for your other teammates. So there's a lot of similarities in the camaraderie and understanding roles too.
20 years later, and Coach P's still doing it. This seems like the success he's having at St. John's. What's that feel like for you guys?
We're great, man. We were happy for him. We were out watching the game yesterday when they were playing UConn, and so it's great to see him in a good space, man, because playing for Coach, Coach eats, sleeps, and breathes basketball, man. So for a period there, he was down and, trying to figure it out. But now to see him in a good space, joking to the media, and, just having success. He's ultimately going to have success just because of his work ethic and his track record of what he does with teams. I think I seen something on the internet the other day where it's talking about Patino in his second year and how he was improving in all the stops that he's been to, and now he's got St. John's on the cusp of a top 10 team. They beat 2 ranked teams, tough UConn team on the road yesterday. So, it's not surprising because, he's a Hall of Famer for a reason. But, it's just having played for him and, having him being what he is to us, man, it's great to see him in a good space and having success with his team, even though it's at another program.
He's mentioned that West Virginia game a few times when looking back on the run you guys made. Is that the first memory that pops into your head, or is there any specifics that you're like, wow, I still can't believe we kind of...
Man, you know what? We had a few iconic moments that year. Most were good. We had the Sparks Gate with the UK game. So believe it or not, that's an ultimate memory that people talk about. But West Virginia is ultimately what most people talk about, I think, just because of the significance of the game and going to a Final Four and having to climb that mountain of being down 20 points and them shooting such a high percentage from 3 and just kind of scratching and clawing back the entire game. And when you have something of that magnitude on the line, man, and to be able to pull it out, man, it's just kind of a testament to what kind of coach he was, but also the kind of team and the kind of guys we had on the team.
As a guy that participated in one of Louisville's greatest teams and experienced Card Nation at its peak, so to speak, how relieving or how does it feel to see that energy in the fan base, reignited again?
It's refreshing, man. I tell some of the people in the athletic department, man, and you can't understand how full my heart is, man. Especially when you wore the uniform and you put blood, sweat, and equity tears into helping the tradition and carry that tradition of what the program is. For a few years to kind of see where it went to, it was tough, man. But to see it coming back, to see the young filling up, I'd never seen the young like it was the last couple of years because I've been away. So the only thing I knew was a packed house young. And so to see that was different, but to see the momentum of what they built and what they're doing now, to see it coming back to where it needs to be, makes my heart full.
What kind of influence did being here in Louisville have on your life?
Everything, man. I remember times when I was younger, going to Freedom Hall, the smell when you walk in the Freedom Hall, the animals and walking up the ramps. And I can't think of the PA announcer.
John Tong.
John Tong, when I was young, man, he just had a unique voice and it just resonated throughout the arena. And I just remember him saying, "Gold" by Smith. My dad used to take me to go see LeBradford Smith play, and I used to go see DeJuan Wheat play, and those were guys that I looked up to. So it's had a big influence, man, because I would watch those guys and then I would go to the park and I'm trying to emulate those guys. I used to tape my wrist because Dwan Week taped his wrist. Wasn't nothing wrong with my wrist, but he did it, so I did it. So, but man, just growing up here, that's the effect and inspiration that guys that wear that uniform that they have on the youth and the people that watch the games.
All right.
Awesome.
Thanks,
Thank you so
man.
much.
Appreciate you.
Good seeing you, man.
All right,
Thank you.
guys.